Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the Premium Bandai exclusive, or P-Bandai exclusive, Robot Damashii Gundam F91 MEPE version, or also known as the After Image version. Now, as far as I know, I've even checked the wiki now, there's no actual term of the MEPE, but I think it's basically the metal peel effect that which they're meaning because when the F91 actually opens up its ability, it turns in a little bit yellowish, and then it makes an after image that actually has weight in it, because it's actually, the after image is made out of the particles of the F91's actual material metal. So yeah, so I think they should have gone with the after image version in terms of name, but oh well. Now, as I mentioned, this is a Robot Damashii figure, and I kind of mentioned this figure in the box yesterday on my F91 HUC Gundam F91 review. And here we have the review. Now, in a nutshell, it's the exact same Robot Damashii of the Gundam F91 in a more, I wouldn't say just pure clear, it's more of a pearl clear color. Yeah, but there are some extra stuff in this, and there are also some stuff that you need to consider regarding this. Now, despite being a Premium Bandai figure, this thing is actually pretty cheaper than the original one at this point, or at least that's how I got it. Alright, so being a figure review, let's go on our usual routine. So first of all, what you get, of course, is the Mobile Suit Gundam F91 itself. And currently on the hands, there are two fist types of hands at the moment. And as you can see, it's currently on a action base. The action base does not come with the figure, just keep that in mind, because the main reason why it's on an action base is because this figure cannot stand on its own properly. Because I think it's because of the material that was used when after being a clear version, but I'll get into that later. Here we have some other stuff, and I also brought out a HG Gundam local type and the HGUC Gundam F91 for size reference. Here we have some equipment. So first of all, number one is, let's get rid of the obvious. Here is the alternative head, which is the opened version of the head. Really love that that clear color version on it. You can see it's the open up version. Even the V-fin is actually clear yellow. Yeah, I think they did a really good job on the head. So this one, they actually give you a full head to, let's change out. Here we have the beam bazooka. As far as I know, the gray sections are just the same gray, but the white sections are all pearl clear, or white pearl clear, whatever they call that. So you can see the inside parts. Very, very nice. And then once again, you have this handle, and yeah. Here we have the beam rifle. Only the white section is the clear color, and unlike the HUC version, the front handle does actually move. So yeah. And then here we have the fins that are supposed to be in the shoulder. Once again, like the HUC version, this also has some parts forming gimmick, but at least while compared to the HUC version, I think these are more longer, and then the front section is actually colored white, so you get two of those for left and right. And then here we have these parts, which I think the Robot Damashii wins in terms of this, but these are the thrusters that are supposed to be on the back of the legs where you open them up. So this is also a parts forming gimmick, but at least this one actually has some extra details going on, because the HUC version, they just had these flaps open up and there was nothing inside, but this one they actually have the thrusters going on, although oddly enough they did not color the triangle ones here. So you get two of those for each leg. Okay, so here we have some more extra stuff. Here we have the shield connector. Now we do actually have one on the shield, the front section here, but this is actually has an extra connector for the shield effect. And then here we have the clip for storing the bazooka on the back skirt. Okay, and then here, speaking of shield, here we have the shield effect part. Much more smoother looking color, but oh well. And then we have all these nice engravings. And then here we have two beam sabers, yeah, connected with the beam saber hilt. This one, unlike the HGC version, does not have any wiggly parts. They're pretty much connected very firmly, and even the handles are clear. Once again, despite being a Robot Damashii figure, this thing does not have the gimmick to store them into the waist section. So I would imagine if they actually make a anime version of this, that would be interesting. Okay, here we have some hands. First of all, number one, we have the multi-purpose hands, but in this term, and for this kit, or I mean, sorry, for this figure, these are mostly for the beam sabers. And then here we have some trigger fingers for left and right, very nice. And here we have some open hands for posing. And then we have these hands, which are also trigger fingers, but these are actually for the VSBR cannons. For the handles, you can see the wrist is actually kind of has this angle on, so it does help out, but still it's not easy to connect than you think. And then finally, the main reason why you want to get this, despite having if you already have the original Robot Damashii Gundam F91, the main reason why you want to get this are these parts. They actually give you the spinning effect part for the hands. This is now usually like I thought they would just give out like just a clear round plastic piece, but no, they actually have these extra details on the hands where it gives that illusion where it's spinning its hand with the beam sabers on. So that they did a really good job on this. And so you get 2 of them for each. Alright, so yeah. So before we go on with the articulation, I just wanted to show you guys regarding the scale. Now, a lot of people always ask, like, regarding Robot Damashii, like, asking, what's the scale of this figure? What's the scale of this figure? Now, the main reason that it's really hard to mention that is, as you can see, it's standing right now. I don't know how, but yeah. You can see it's almost close, kind of similar to the 1:144 scale kit, but at the same time, not as tall as it is. But here is the HGUC version. As you can see, it's much smaller than the Robot Damashii figure. So, as far as I know, the Robot Damashii figures, they always keep the same length or slash height, which most of the case they do look kind of similar as the 1:144 scale. So, it's really hard to specify what scale they are depending on the mobile suit, but you can at least I can say is that they all have the same height. So that's almost close as a 1:144 scale, almost close, but depending on the mobile suit, there could be slight changes. So yeah. Anyway, so we're done with the comparison. Now I'll be right back to show you guys the articulation. Okay, I'm back. Here is for the articulation. So we'll start with the head as usual. As I mentioned, since you get an alternative head, unlike the HGUC version, we don't have that helmet gimmick anymore, so that's actually a good thing. So the head can go down that much, and then even the V fins are not exactly the same plastic, so they're overall most of the parts has changed into a little bit more of a rubberish material. So which is why I think I should mention this is that if you do buy this figure, just don't smell it too often, because when I first opened the box, I could smell the unhealthy plastic smell that was as if it was just as if it just came out from the factory. So yeah, just be careful. And then the head doesn't go up as much as you think, but since it looks like it's on a joint, some sort of joint, so you can go 360 if you want to do so. And then the main body, you have a nice ab crunch going on, although I'm not sure if this counts as an ab crunch, because technically there's actually 2 joints going on here, but the middle section doesn't really move that much, so it barely counts. But at least as far as I can tell, the main connection is a ball joint. But thanks to that, I believe going 360 shouldn't be a big of an issue at this point. Yep, as long as I didn't twist anything. And then the shoulders, they can move forward and backwards because they're also on a ball joint. And then the arms can go a little bit more than 90, but let's just say 90 as a safe point. And then the 360 twist is technically possible on the arm, but I don't know, maybe it could be because of the material of the clear plastic. It's not as easy as I thought. But we have a nice double jointed bend. Of course, I think it's because of this arm, it's not easy to see, but yeah, on the other arm, it's much more obvious. And on this section, we don't actually have a folded up fin, but we actually see a hole there. That's actually for the hole for the pegs on the fin. So yeah, I think that part is lacking, and I don't know, maybe because of the being an after image version, we don't actually get the F91 on the shoulders. But come to think of it, when you actually go to the Gundam Wiki to see the artwork of the F91, some versions or some variants don't actually have the F91 on the shoulder, which I kind of found a little bit interesting. And also, since the main arm is on a ball joint, going 360 is also possible, and the hands are your typical Robot Damashii type hands where the ball joint is on the arm. Okay, now let's look at the backpack. Similar to the HGUC version, there is still a swivel or sliding gimmick where you can pull up the VSBR up to the front. And thanks to the clear color, you can see the inside parts. And then the backpack, nothing too special regarding this, pretty much the same. And then At least the VSBRs, unlike the HGC version, these are actually on ball joints, so they're much more flexible and they can move much more easily and more stable, and you don't need to worry about breaking them. So yeah, as long as it moves, you can move it all the way you want. And then on the back skirt, kind of similar like how the HGC was, you can actually take, you can take that part out and then connect the bazooka holder actually onto this section right over here. And also, I did check the comments on my HGC version. Thank you for pointing that connector part on the back skirt for me, because I wasn't really thinking properly, because that extra hole there that was on the bazooka holder was actually meant for the white piece that was already onto the back skirt. So yeah. Alright, and then here is the shield section. This is the part where you connect the shield. Of course, if you want to do so, you have to take this part off. And they did a really good job on coloring on this. They got the yellow triangle, and then they got the black edges as well. Okay, now let's look at the waist section. Now the waist section, they're pretty well detailed, but once again, they do not open up, so you cannot store anything. But the side skirts move a good amount. Back skirt does not move. Front skirt moves also a good amount. And as you can see, the leg connection is, the main connection is, I think, is a ball joint, but was also a side swivel, so we have a nice range of movement. It can go forward that much, and then you have a nice double jointed bend. And still, they did a good job with the, once again, yellow triangles, and then a color separation on here. Here is that part where you have to do, that has the parts forming gimmick, where you have to take this part off. Now, because, okay, there you go. You have to take this part off and then replace it with the open ones right over here, like this. In a nutshell. So yeah, while this is not the best method, but at least it looks pretty good. And as far as I can tell, the feet are kind of the typical ball jointed feet, and then we have a nice toe bend right over, not toe bend, but a folding gimmick on the feet. So as I mentioned at the start, I had problems with this standing because most of the time, I think it's because of the material got more lighter on the feet, and then the feet would always go up like this, which is why it would sometimes hinder the balance. So I'm trying my best, and hopefully it works out. You can see it's kind of standing, but it's not on the ideal, like, stable stand pose right over here. You can see it's a little bit wobbly on the side, and it's leaning more to the back. So yeah. And regarding the VSBRs, yes, they do open up and then reveal a handle, but once again, not like the Master Grade. There's supposed to be, like, on the Master Grade there was an extra fin on the top or the front. That's not present here. Alright, we've seen the main articulation, so I'll be right back with the first set of equipment. Okay, I'm back. Here we have the first set of equipment. Basically, I gave the hands, I used the trigger finger hands for each left and right, and then I attached the beam rifle and the bazooka onto the hands. And then, as you can see on the legs, I also attached the opened up fins, and they look absolutely fantastic. They look more natural. Of course, they may look a little bit off to some people because they do not look like they would do a perfect fold or matching up. So currently, yeah, connecting the hands were no problem. Putting the bazooka on the shoulder was no problem. The only issue that I slightly have, it's not a major issue, but I would say it would be the beam rifle hand, or the right trigger finger hand, because while the trigger finger actually fits pretty well, of course it may look awkward. As you can see, the trigger finger is absolutely long there. The hands may be a little bit wobbly to the point where it may move a lot. So this is the only joint that I'm having a little bit issue with, because it's a little bit wobbly but not too bad. And as you can see, the clear color definitely gives a nice vibe to it. So yeah, and then as you can see, I just connected the action base. The action base actually does connect to the lower crotch section. Now you can see this is not the hole, this is actually a screw hole, and there's another hole right over here. You might not be able to see it because of the color, but yeah. Alright, so we're done with the first set of equipment, and now I'll be right back with the second set of equipment. Okay, I'm back with the second set of equipment. So currently I have the open hand for the left hand, and then I have the beam shield attached, and then on the right hand I'm using the beam saber effect part, the beam saber, and then on the back skirt I attached the bazooka holder, which I noticed something interesting, and then I still attached the boosters on the legs. So currently, as you can see, the shield connects pretty well. It's a very firm connection. Let me just get it off the action base, actually, at this point. So currently, as you can see, it's a very nice firm connection. Of course, connecting the actual shield effect, beam shield effect part to this part is kind of tricky because it actually clips on. but the position that it clips on, it has to be very precise, so keep that in mind. But thanks to the extra connector, and since it's on a ball joint, you can pretty much rotate the shield if you want to do so. And really, that extra open hand really does help out doing all certain poses. And then on the other hand, you can see the beam saber is holding very firmly, so there's no need to worry about anything to be wobbly or anything, because unlike the HD version, the holding hand was very big to the point where the beam saber did not stay in position. And regarding the bazooka holder, okay, I'm just going to take this part off. Now, this section actually clips onto the back skirt, but I also know that there's actually a small peg here, and then I wasn't able to see it because of the color, but there's actually a small hole in here. So the bazooka also, once again, not only does it clip on, but it also attaches to that extra hole and plugs in very firmly like that. So you pretty much have no worries about this falling off. Alright, so we're done with the second type of equipment, so I'll be right back with the next set of equipment. Okay, I'm back with another set of equipment. So first of all, what I have is basically I have the VSBRs out, and I have connected the hands that are specifically meant for the VSBRs, and I have the fins connected to the shoulder as well. And I changed the normal head to the alternative head, or also the open style head. Now, the head connection is very simple. It's pretty much what you expect. You just need to plug out the head and then replace it. Now, when you look at from a distance, it's really hard to tell like which head you're using, but it only really gets visible when you're actually pretty up close. And as you can see there are some changes on the faceplate. So yeah, and now the fins are connected inside the shoulder, as I mentioned, on inside the shoulder, and you can see the connecting inside there. Now, the fins at the front are colored properly in white. That's very good. And unlike the HD version, the fins are actually more staring or facing up upwards, so it has that less awkwardness going on there. And then I'm not sure if it's only when it's using the after image gimmick, or whenever it's flying it pops out. I'm still confused regarding that part, but I really do like how they did with this part. Now, here's the main difficulties. Now, attaching the hand to the arm, that's no issue. Getting the hand inside that handle is very hard, because as you can see, the handle is very small, and you can see, like, I kind of squeezed in the hand. So there's not much space for the hands to be inside. So you're going to be having a lot of hard time plugging that in. And at least unlike the HD version, for some reason, this part does not really, hinder that often with the posing. But of course, it's just really awkward to pose because there's another connection on the back, so you have to consider the range of movement going on that connection regarding to do some poses, which is why you can see the VSBRs are kind of on an angle. But oh well, I say that's a pretty good thing, and then that's pretty much it. So I'll be right back with the last set of equipment, which is also pretty much the main highlight of this product. Okay, I'm back with the last set of equipment. This effect part is pretty much the last equipment set, and this is like the big main finale of this product. So, as I mentioned, if you buy the original or normal F91 or the other Harrison version or whatever there is, you will not get this beam spinning effect part. So now, sure, the hands are pretty well done, but the green section may not be the best, aspect of it. But still, it really does give out that illusion where it's spinning its beam sabers and making that shield effect. Granted, I don't think they actually, the user used it as a shield, but it's always meant for like slashing its opponents. But still, I'm really glad that I got this version, because this is one effect part I really wanted to see in some sort of format. The HUC version does not have this. I believe the Master Grade does not also have this as well. So yeah, this is like the only version that actually has such effect part. And if you're wondering, yes, the hands are the still same ball jointed connection, and this plastic part is not like a solid piece. It's actually a flexible plastic. And yeah, it really gets the job done. And that's pretty much it for the review. So, yeah, and even though you have the fins out, it doesn't really hinder the process as well. So yeah, if you really are interested in, or if you're a really big fan of the F91, or if you really want the spinning effect parts, I would definitely recommend this. And other than the smell of this figure, I really love the way how this looks. I love the color, I love the articulation, the quality. Granted, there are still some parts forming aspects, but it's still one heck fun of a figure to play with. Anyways, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the P-Bandai exclusive Robot Damashii Gundam F91 after image version, or also the MEPE version, MEPE version, according to the box. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time!